In this video, we're going to talk about how to generate leads from your website, specifically from your home page. Now, lead generation is an art form. There are consultants that you can hire that will come in and help you build a very large database of names. And they actually charge an arm and a leg to do this. So what I want to share with you is something that's vitally important to the growth of any business. If you think about a business in the sales funnel, the typical sales funnel, on a website we have visitors that come to the site, and hopefully a portion of those visitors turn into leads, and of course those leads trickle down and turn into sales. So what we're talking about is an important part of increasing the bottom line for your business. Now, if you happen to be a financial planner and you've stumbled across this video, congratulations, because I'm going to be looking at specific examples within your industry, and I'm going to be giving you about $5,000 worth of consulting here in this video. This is the same information that I've worked with other financial planners and helped them to increase the leads in their business. And then, as a financial planner, you probably know exactly what just one good solid lead is worth in the business. So let's jump right into it. On this site, we're looking at Heritage Financial Planning, and this is a typical site for a small business, in this case a financial planning firm. Now let's just carefully look at what is on this particular page. On the left hand side, we see of course navigation for the rest of the site. Here at the top we see an update, kind of a news flash, and Steve Blankenship, the principal of Heritage Financial Planning, has been named one of the best financial planners in Dallas by D Magazine. So it's a feather in their cap, and they want to showcase that, and that's a great idea. I mean, it lends credibility, for example, to their business. And then the rest of the site is used to talk a little bit about the company. So this is fairly typical, something that you would see. Let's take a look at another example. This is Self-Worth Financial Planning. Also, they have navigation here across the top and below here. And on the left hand side, you can see in this particular column they have some contact information, including the phone number. So this is good, because if someone's interested in talking to them, the phone number is right there, it's available. So most of the page is dedicated to talking about the firm and giving people some background information here in the bottom, in the particular body copy. Now, when we talk about home pages, one of the things we want to make sure we focus in on is the fact that for most sites, the home page gets the bulk of the traffic. So it's an important part of the real estate for any given site. So what's missing on these two sites so far that we've seen is a way to generate some type of a lead. Now, certainly, if I'm interested, I could call Self-Worth Financial Planning, so that's a good start. At least it's better than what we saw on the previous site from Heritage Financial Planning, where on that page they didn't even have a phone number. But what if I'm not interested in calling and talking to someone? What if I just want a little bit more information? What's missing on these sites is some type of lead generation formula or strategy. So let's look at a couple of examples of sites that are at least doing that part of it right. Now, in other videos, I'm going to cover a number of other topics with regard to site design, layout, calls to action, copywriting, and so forth. And so I'm not going to touch on a number of things that I see with some of these sites here that I would change and modify and at least test. I want to stay focused on these lead capture pages and forms on the home page specifically. So on this particular site, in addition to some basic information that we see in the body copy here, we also see on the right hand side an offer. It says, looking for a financial planner, click here. Want to get started? Sign up for sign up for a financial assessment, which I'm assuming is free. If we click on that particular link, then we go to here, which is a form where I'll get a 2-hour financial assessment during which we review and provide recommendations to your top 3 financial concerns. So a nice offer that's presented on this particular home page. Now, quick tip here. There's plenty of room on this particular page to put the form actually on the home page, which is the first thing I'd recommend this particular planner do. If he does this instead of having a link directing them to another page with the form on it, he'll double the number of leads. Most likely he'll double the number of leads that he's getting currently. There's no real reason to have an extra step in the process, and it just reduces the number of leads that you generate. So that is going back to the first thing we're talking when we set this whole video up, is we're talking about what we can do on the home page to generate leads. This is a step in the right direction. There's a few changes that I would definitely make. Okay, here's another example. And I do like the position of this particular lead capture form on the page. In this case, he's offering a free newsletter. So you can sign up for the newsletter, you put your email in here and hit submit. So it's in a prominent place on the particular page. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not going to get into copywriting and creating offers in this particular video, but there's some things I would change to really give people a reason to sign up for the newsletter. If you're on a dozen email lists, then you're probably already getting too much email, and you're pretty protective of who you give your email address to. And so that's the hurdle, the obstacle that you have to get over as a business owner, is creating an offer that's strong enough for people to actually put their information there. And we'll go over that in a future video. Now, let's look at the third example here. And they do a decent job here as well, having some type of lead capture form on the site. And here they're also collecting emails for their particular newsletter. Again, I would just make that offer stronger. Subscribe to email newsletters. Why? What would be the reason I want to get your particular newsletter? In this case, they have a pretty nice header here with several things that we can do in terms of contact. Phone number, of course, taking us to a contact us page. Complete our confidential client questionnaire. And so a few things that they've got going for them there. Now, to really make this strong, it's going to take a combination of the form itself, whether you're capturing just the email address or a name and address and phone number and email in efforts to get an assessment done and set up. You're going to need that particular form to capture the information. You're going to need the offer. You're going to need copies supporting it. The placement on the page is a factor. There are a number of factors that are involved. In other videos, we're going to be looking at actual critiques of the home page, or even a complete site in some cases, where we'll break down each of these elements, and we'll talk about all the combinations of what it takes to maximize the response rate. The goal here is to make sure that as visitors come to the site, they're not bouncing back out very quickly. Just imagine if you had a retail store where you were doing business, and half of your customers open the door, peek their head in, scan the room for 5 seconds, and then close the door and turn around and walked away. If you were in a retail business and you were the owner and you saw that happen, you would be at the door grabbing people by the arms and saying, "Hey, just curious, why did you leave?" That's just not the way retail businesses work. Typically, people come in and they browse around, they shop, and a fairly high percentage of them purchase. Now, the web's very different than a retail location. If you go to a store, most likely you need jeans, or you need groceries, or you need something, and you're highly likely to purchase. It depends on what kind of retail establishment we're talking about, of course. Those conversion numbers of people that step in the door to people buying are pretty high, and they're definitely much higher than on the web. But on the web, most sites are designed, and they're pretty sloppy in terms of the way that they're built and designed as it relates to capturing that information from people that quote-unquote walk in the door. So your goal whenever someone hits your site is to make sure that you engage them and you capture their information so that you can nurture that relationship. So this is a great example of how to maximize the profitability of your business by generating leads on your homepage.